What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another brand new Marvel story time. If you had have said to me a couple of weeks ago there was going to be 3 episodes of Marvel story time in the space of a fortnight, I would have called you crazy, but the news just keeps coming and coming and coming. To be honest, there's only 2 pieces of big news I want to go over on today. One of them is such a big story I couldn't really keep letting stories build up. We had to address it on the channel. We're going to get into the massive one first, and it's actually a 2-section story. Sony recently dropped the final trailer for Venom: The Last Dance. I'm not interested in the Venom movies at all. I think they're terribly written, terribly acted movies. I think Tom Hardy is fantastic as Venom, and Eddie Brock, and I think that is about as much positivity as I can give it. I think the movies are complete garbage. I think they only make money because it's a big name, let's be honest. But the trailers for the third film actually do look good. But that's not what is the surprising thing, and that's not what the news is. The news is that Sony waited until the final trailer 1 month before the film releases to say, oh yeah, by the way, we're introducing Knull, God of the Symbiotes. Really? 1 month before it comes out? You wouldn't have thought to maybe announce that a bit earlier, maybe start building up ticket pre-sales, maybe start getting the hype train going? No, Sony, you're just like, we don't really like money anyway, we'll just drop it in the final trailer. Even though there will be people out there who won't even watch the final trailer. Like, I barely watched it because I'm so sick to death of Sony. So maybe if they had leaked this maybe a while ago, maybe there'd be more interest in the film. But yeah, they've showed Knull in the final trailer. The biggest thing is, because it's Sony, you could very much see him just showing up in a post-credit scene, or maybe not even being in the film. Sony are very well known for just putting things in there that don't actually appear in the film. Allegedly, Knull is being played by Norman Reedus. Obviously, he plays Daryl Dixon on The Walking Dead. I think that's a fantastic choice for Knull. I'm actually a bit surprised because Norman Reedus has been linked so much with Ghost Rider in the MCU. I'm surprised that Sony got him first, but obviously with variants and all, and the fact Knull won't even look human, chances are we'll still see Norman Reedus at some point down the line in the MCU as a separate character. Now, that still isn't the big news. The big news is that I knew as soon as it was confirmed that Knull is in Venom 3, it was obvious Venom isn't going to beat Knull. If anyone has read the comic books, Knull is an Avengers level threat. If he gets beat by Venom alone, then I'm sorry, Sony really should just give up all the rights to every Spider-Man character right now. The rumour is that apparently Eddie Brock and Venom will be unable to defeat Knull, as you'd expect, that's fair enough. And they will seek out the help of the MCU's Spider-Man, aka Tom Holland. And they will team up in Spider-Man 4 to take on Knull in the MCU's universe. Now, the fact that Sony had Tom Hardy record a post-credit scene where he joined the MCU, then film another one where he was taken out of the MCU, and now they're allegedly going to have him rejoin the MCU, is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. It also means that Sony have officially gotten their way with Spider-Man 4, and it is no longer a street level movie. People generally wanted a street level movie for Spider-Man. I'm not the only one. People really thought after the conclusion of the Home trilogy, essentially, that Tom Holland's Spider-Man was finally the friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man. He had lost everything, his family, his friends. He was all alone. He was just going to be defending his city for a while. He was going to team up with Daredevil. He was going to take on Kingpin. But Sony just did not think there was enough money in that for them. That still would make over $1 billion, let's be honest. MCU Spider-Man, with the quality of his movies, is guaranteed money, especially if you're throwing Daredevil and Kingpin in there. It was over $1 billion guaranteed, and the budget would have been a lot less. But no, Sony insisted on a big, another multiversal crossover. If we were going to let Sony have their way, I'm glad it means that Tom Hardy is finally going to get the team up with Tom Holland. I am glad of that, because that is something I wanted. It probably means both of them will be in... Well, Spider-Man will be in Secret Wars, but it probably means Tom Hardy will be as well. And as long as Sony stay out of the writing room, Spider-Man 4 will still be a good movie, for sure. If you give Kevin Feige and his writers and Dustin Daniel Cretton his movie and just leave him to it, and you give him access to Knull, God of Symbiotes, maybe a few symbiotes come over with him, maybe... How do we know that the MC doesn't introduce their own version of Carnage or something like that? And if you give them Tom Hardy and Tom Holland, and there is also rumours that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield might be coming back as well to team up with Venom 2. I'm not sure about that. I think it should just be them two, and then all four of them can team up in Secret Wars. I think that would make a lot more sense. You don't want to do this to death. Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire worked so well in No Way Home because we hadn't seen them in so long. They both definitely had unfinished business. But if you do that, and then do this again in Spider-Man 4, bring them all together, and then bring them all again in Secret Wars, because Tobey Maguire at least is definitely going to be in Secret Wars. He will have a scene with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. That is guaranteed, essentially. So we just need to tell Sony, right, you've got your plan for a movie. That's sort of okay. We can do street level Spider-Man maybe for the 5th movie after the multiversal saga is over. But then Sony just have to be like, here's the story, we'll step back. If Sony have any input into the story or script at all, the movie's going to be garbage. Sony cannot make a good live action movie. Even their movies that did make money, that they made, like Venom, are garbage. People don't seem to be understanding that. Sony have, see, outside of the Spider-Verse movies, which is animated and done at a completely different studio, Sony have not made a good live action Spider-Man centric movie in about 15 years. Even the Amazing Spider-Man movies, like, people love them now. People hated them when they first came out. People trashed Andrew Garfield. Because Spider-Man 3 as well, Tobey's last movie, was garbage. We haven't seen a properly critically acclaimed Spider-Man movie live action from Sony since Spider-Man 2. I think 2005? Nearly 20 years? That's wild. But people want them to have an input into this movie? No. Just give the MCU your characters and just stand back and collect your paycheck, please. Now, the second part of this story is that allegedly after the MCU finishes up Secret Wars, Sony are planning to reboot their Spider-Man universe. I don't even know what to say to that. Nobody wants you to even have the rights to Spider-Man anymore. We do not want to see another attempted universe from you. Because number one, Tom Holland might be on an individual contract basis per film at the minute, but he's got a 4 or 5 picture deal with the MCU still to run. So you will not have Tom Holland Spider-Man in your Sony universe unless you're sharing him. Number two, nobody wants to see villain-centric stories anymore. You have butchered Madam Web, you have butchered Morbius, you have admitted that you only brought them out to keep the rights to Spider-Man. You didn't care about money, you didn't care about if it was a good film or not. You tried to rush Spider-Man 4 to the point where you couldn't, where you just said, we don't care about the story, just get the movie out there. Nobody wants to see this anymore. We don't. Unless Sony are finally going to say, we're going to do Spider-Man 4 with Tobey and Sam Raimi, and we're going to do Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Andrew Garfield, and just conclude their final movies. Unless they're going to do that, they can just do one, because I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it at all. I have heard people saying, like, oh, maybe that would be for the best of them rebooting. The best thing would be to sell the rights to Marvel. Just give the MCU the rights back. At this point, Sony are losing so much money on their own individual films, it's counteracting the money they're making on the MCU Spider-Man movies. So they're basically probably just breaking even at this point, because they just piss all their money away. At this point, Sony would make more money selling Spider-Man to Marvel for 2 or 3 billion. And Disney would do it. I'm telling you now, Disney would do it, because Spider-Man is the cash cow. But he's only the cash cow when it comes to the MCU making the movies. That is the Spider-Man rant over, the Spider-Man section. Just a quick recap. Sony are idiots finally got their way with the Knull movie, which is fine as long as it's not handled by Sony themselves. It'll be good to see Tom Hardy and Tom Holland team up together. But Sony should not be rebooting anything. This should just be it. It should be after Secret Wars. Tom Hardy stays in the MCU as Eddie Brock. I'm happy with that as long as he's got good writers around him. His movies will be a lot better. He might not even get his own movies anymore, but he would appear in a lot more Spider-Man projects. And Sony can just do one, in my opinion. The final bit of news, it is nowhere near as exciting as what we just discussed, but it has been confirmed by a production company who list their production opportunities on their website that the Scarlet Witch is getting a solo movie. It is up, literally. There's a list of production movies coming up, and then you can filter it down to Disney, Marvel, all that, and right under Spider-Man 4, which they are currently looking at production crew for, there is Scarlet Witch. It has been confirmed. It says on it. I think it even confirms in the description Elizabeth Olsen will return. We expected that anyway. You can't be introduced to a new Scarlet Witch at this point. So that would sort of, I don't know if that fills, like there was 3 untitled Marvel projects taking place between Doomsday and Secret Wars. We obviously got confirmation that 4 or 5 is about to be sped up. It was about to be rushed through to get it out before Secret Wars. So that's 1. Scarlet Witch is allegedly coming out before Secret Wars as well. That's 2. And I don't think there's been another movie. Spider-Man 4 doesn't count because it was never on Marvel's timeline for released movies. It's always on the Sony timeline. So I don't think so. It's not going to be Shang-Chi 2. It can't be Shang-Chi 2 because I think that Dustin Daniel Cretton is the only person that could direct Shang-Chi 2, and he's going to be busy with Spider-Man now. So I definitely think Shang-Chi is going to be delayed until after the multiversal saga. As long as he gets a big role in Secret Wars or Doomsday, I'm happy enough. But you cannot keep wasting Shang-Chi. He's a fantastic, fantastic character. I would say the final spot's going to go to Doctor Strange 3 because you need to wrap up the Clea story before an Avengers movie. They're saying that Doctor Strange is going to have a lengthy scene with Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom in Doomsday. So does that mean that you wrap up the Clea story before Doomsday? Because there's no way that Doctor Strange 3 comes out before Doomsday. The next Avengers movie, Doomsday, starts filming in 6 months. So there's not going to be a Doctor Strange 3 out before that. So fingers crossed that they get that sorted. I do want to see a Doctor Strange 3 with a better director than Sam Raimi. I don't like Sam Raimi that much, in case you guys haven't realised. But that's it, guys. That's the Marvel news. A close 30-minute video on 2 stories, essentially. That's how big the Spider-Man story was. I'm still excited for the future of the MCU, but Sony need to take a back seat here and just let Marvel do their stuff. Like, Kevin Feige seems to finally be back at the top of his game, so let's just let him do his thing. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff you guys like to do, and I shall see you on the next one.